The FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen.
Okay. Hey, Keith, let me know, man. Are we live? Hello, everybody. Just waiting for my producer to tell me if we're live because I lost my intro music there. So let me see if I have a message from Keith. I don't. Oh, we are live. Thank you, Keith. Welcome, everybody. I apologize there for that snafu. I got sidetracked. I got distracted. Thank you for joining me, tuning in today. Again, you should know that the new routine, we are streaming the show live every single day, now only on Substack and YouTube. So go to Substack, or thank you, Melissa. Go to Substack, socialcontractwithjoewalsh.substack.com to get this show live every day, or go to YouTube, Social Contract with Joe Walsh, to stream live. Look, let me give you a little truth, and I come at you this morning with this little truth as the President of the United States right now is speaking at the United Nations right now. And I'll tell you what, I ain't no fan of the United Nations. I've never been a fan of the United Nations. I've said for a while when I was in Congress and prior, we ought to defund the United Nations. I do not see a useful purpose that the United Nations serves. I believe the United Nations is an anti-Israel body, an anti-Semitic body. I can't stand the United Nations, but here I am right now watching him right now, the biggest idiot on the planet, speaking at the United Nations right now. And all I feel compelled to do again is apologize. Apologize to the world for him. That we put that fucking moron in the White House again. All I feel like doing, and this pains me because I can't stand the United Nations, all I feel compelled to do is say, world, I'm sorry. America is sorry that we again put this idiot in the White House. I maybe I'll touch upon some of it tomorrow. He's speaking right now, but he's been speaking for about 35 minutes at the United Nations so far. And honest to God, I'm not exaggerating. It's been lie after lie. I mean, lie after lie. He stands in front of the world, in front of the United Nations, and he's spewing out lies about everything. All he's doing is talking about himself. 20 minutes ago, he went into how he was the biggest, most important real estate guy in New York 20, 30 years ago. He bid to get the contract to rebuild the UN building, and he didn't get it because they didn't like Donald Trump. He's lying. He's playing the victim. He's just talking about himself. He's delusional. This is embarrassing. He's making no sense. And I can't stand the United Nations. And it just pisses me off. All of these bad actors at the United Nations. People from Iran, representatives of Iran, and all these other terrorist states and anti-Israel states and countries where there's not basic freedoms and where women don't have equal rights and gays and transgenders are killed. And this is the world we live in. And we have this idiot We do. We're the biggest, most powerful country on the planet. And this is embarrassing listening to him. Remember, in his first term, they laughed at him. They're laughing at him. They're laughing at America right now. Again, all I can do is apologize, world. I'm sorry. And, what he's doing right now fits perfectly with what I wanted to say to everybody this morning. Thanks for tuning in to the Social Contract with Joe Walsh. As context, 7.5 years ago, I publicly stood up and publicly came out against Donald Trump. Gosh, about 7.5 years ago now. And since I did that, every day, every week, every month, every year has been tough, difficult. The loss, the financial hit. I took a blowtorch to my career, the regular threats. It's been a rough road these past 7.5 years. Coming out against Trump as a Republican, as a conservative, and then fighting Trump and Trumpism every single day for 7.5 years. It's been really hard. But very rarely, I mean, very rarely, over the course of the last 7.5 years, have I ever thought about quitting this fight, about getting off of this road I'm on. And look, I'm not on this road because I'm making money. I'm not making money, right? So I didn't do this for financial reasons. I certainly didn't do it for political, electoral reasons, right? I killed myself in my former political party. No, this was not a career advancement. It's been a really tough 7.5 years. It's been a killer, but I've never, ever, that's not true. Very rarely has it gotten to the point where I've ever said to myself, that's it. I can't do this anymore. And by the way, we're done. Forget it. The country is what it is now. Forget it. I quit. I've only got 20 years left on this planet. If I'm lucky, I'm done. I quit. Very rarely over the last 7.5 years have I ever said that or felt that way. Yesterday, I felt that way. Yesterday was one of those very rare days over these last 7.5 years where I looked at myself before I went to bed last night and I said, self, fuck it. We're done. I quit. And that was my last thought before I went to bed last night. Fuck it. We're done. I quit. And I felt that way because I spent a chunk of my day yesterday listening to, and this is saying a lot, but listening to the most batshit crazy, depressing press conference I've ever heard a president of the United States give. I listened for about an hour and a half, 2 hours yesterday to the biggest idiot, moron on the planet spend an hour and a half talking about autism and vaccines and Tylenol and pregnancy. And I sat there and I listened to him for an hour and a half talk about all of this shit that he has absolutely zero knowledge of. It was an hour and a half of the president of the United States. It would have been like a 4-year-old got up in front of the world, in front of the media yesterday, a 4-year-old, by the way, a bratty 4-year-old, talking about autism, Tylenol, pregnancy, and vaccines. It was no better what Trump did. Hour and a half, utter misinformation, disinformation, bullshit, and lies. And I finished watching it and I thought to myself, that's it. Fuck it, we're done. Oh my God. People are going to die listening to him. He will get people killed. And that's what got me thinking, I'm done. There's no getting past this. There's no coming back from this. Keith, show me what you got. I got a couple of highlights from yesterday.
Effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism.
By the way, he couldn't even pronounce the drug that he called a press conference to talk about. And this went on and on. Keith, you got another one?
It's inconvenient. Oh, you're going to have to go back another year later. You're going to go back each year for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. Just break it up. Break it up. Because it's too much liquid. Too many different things are going into that baby at too big a number. The size of this thing, when you look at it, it's like 80 different vaccines and beyond vaccines, and 80. Then you give that to a little kid. I mean, I could.
Utter nonsense. Utter bullshit. And this went on for an hour and a half, trying to tell people that pregnant women shouldn't take Tylenol because it causes autism. And if you're having a rough pregnancy, just suck it up, tough it up, tough it out. Every physician, every doctor, every scientist, anybody who knows anything about any of what he talked about yesterday came out and said, do not listen to him. Do not listen to a word the President of the United States just said. Every medical group, every health association, everybody immediately came out and said, don't listen to him. Think about that for a moment. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Why is he talking about it? How did we get here? Who am I? Who's in charge? How did I get up on this stage? The idiocy of that guy giving medical advice at all. And the craziness of anyone in this country listening to him. You know, it harkened back right to COVID, right? When COVID hit us in the spring of 2020, and every fucking day Trump would go out there and talk about batshit crazy stuff that just made the whole thing worse and led to a hell of a lot of Americans dying who never should have died. Donald Trump killed a huge number of Americans by just simply getting in front of the camera every fucking day and lying and spreading bullshit and misinformation and disinformation. Same thing here. Pregnant woman, I'm not supposed to take Tylenol. If I took Tylenol, I caused my kid's autism. But now hold on a minute. I didn't take Tylenol and my kid is autistic. Hold on. The utter confusion. But look, I'm not going to get into it just because that's not the point I want to make. The point I want to make is this. He's a moron. I mean this with all sincerity. What he did for an hour and a half yesterday would have been like if you gave a few sheets of paper to a 4-year-old and put that 4-year-old in a high chair behind a podium and said, read, son, little 4-year-old boy, read this stuff. And imagine a 4-year-old who's a brat as well, who's ill-behaved as well, hasn't had a nap in a while as well. And you're giving him a bunch of paper, and this 4-year-old is supposed to talk about autism, Tylenol, vaccines, and pregnancy. That's what it was like. But what matters to me is, and by the way, this is the same guy right now spreading lies and bullshit and disinformation in front of the United Nations right now. But what happened yesterday is he ain't no physician. He ain't no scientist. He ain't no doctor. And by the way, the guy standing behind him, the guy the idiot put in charge of our nation's public health, ain't a doctor, ain't a physician, ain't a scientist as well. What makes this so frightening is people will die because of what Donald Trump did for an hour and a half yesterday. Just like people died every day when Trump got in front of the cameras and talked about COVID and what you should do to fight COVID. People died listening to him. You know the studies. Hell of a lot more people watching Fox News died because of COVID, because of the lies that Trump and his media cheerleaders spread. But back up, because I can get way too worked up about this. I think for all of America who can hear me, do not listen to, pay attention to, or follow anything the President of the United States said yesterday, period, full stop. But for us as a country, so that's why I went to bed last night thinking, what the hell? We are the most powerful country on the planet. That guy sits in the most powerful office on the planet, and he's the biggest fucking idiot / moron on the planet. You can see why I went to bed last night feeling kind of helpless and hopeless, like all is lost. We're not recovering from this. We're not recovering from putting that guy in the White House. Woke up this morning and I'm thinking to myself, but what's the problem? The problem is he's there. And the problem, as I see it, is twofold. Number one, how and why? I mean, he's the biggest idiot and moron on the planet. Donald Trump is a horrible person. He is a psychopath. Informally, that means he's utterly incapable of thinking about or caring about anyone but himself. How the hell did this guy, horrible person, psychopath, a moron, end up in the White House? And that got me thinking about the first problem. Because I know how Trump got in the White House because of where I come from. I know how Trump got elected again. But I'm a new Democrat. I've been a Democrat 3.5 months. And it got me thinking about where we are as a nation right now, right? This is like all hands on deck right now. What can we do? What are we going to do? Well, you got to know and be frank about the situation. The biggest fucking idiot, the most dangerous person on the planet is in the White House right now. And he's probably going to be in the White House for the next 3.5 years. So what do we do? Point number one is Democrats got to do something. And that got me thinking about the Democrats. That got me thinking about where the Democrats, my new party, dropped the ball, where they are to blame, because the Democrats are to blame for that guy, that idiot, being in the White House. I say this as a new Democrat. Truth number one, problem number one, Democrats still don't understand how Trump got elected. Democrats still don't understand why Trump got elected again. And that's because My new political party still is way too fucking establishment and way too fucking out of touch with regular folk in America, white, black, and brown. And so, because the Democratic Party, my new party, is still so, and because they were so establishment and out of touch with regular folk, white, black, and brown, those regular folk, white, black, and brown, voted for this horrible, moronic psychopath. A lot of blame to go around, right? Republican Party establishment for being gutless, Tea Party people like me for inflaming people, but the Democratic Party for growing so out of touch with just the basic day-to-day concerns of regular folk, white, black, and brown, that those regular folk, white, black, and brown, decided, I'd rather go with the horrible, moronic psychopath than this party that just doesn't really know what I'm going through or doesn't give a damn when it comes to things like crime and the price of eggs and immigration and the border. Democrats were out of touch. They're still out of touch. As horrible as Trump's numbers are, his approval numbers, his approval rating, Democrats are worse. As poorly as Trump is doing right now, the latest polling out of CNN, the lowest presidential approval rating at this point in the president's term ever, the Democratic Party's approval rating is even lower. Trump gets higher marks on taking care of the economy, immigration, and crime right now than Democrats do. Because the Democrats still don't get it. My new party still doesn't fucking get it. Still doesn't get what matters to regular people, regular folk, white, black, and brown. Democrats don't, they're still in denial. They don't know why or how Trump won and the role that they played in helping Trump win. And oh, by the way, truth number 2 or 3, my former party, the Republican Party, the right, they just don't give a fuck. They don't care. Like Democrats don't understand how Trump happened. Democrats don't understand why Trump happened. With Republicans and the right, it's even worse. They know Trump's a horrible, moronic psychopath, but they don't fucking care. Because for Republicans, it's all about retribution. It's all about revenge. I'm getting back at CNN. I'm getting back at the man. I'm getting back at liberals. I'm getting back at the left. I'm getting back at the boogeyman, whatever. So because of that, Republicans sold their souls and their principles to support this horrible, moronic psychopath. And here we are. Here we are now. He's there. He's been there 8 months. Democrats are still in denial about how he got there. And as long as they remain in denial, they're not going to, Democrats will not take back the House or the Senate until they realize what the fuck they need to do, right, to fix their house. And Republicans, as long as they've decided, we don't give a fuck. We know Trump's bad. We know he's a moron. We know he's a psychopath. We know he's a bad guy, but we don't care, Joe. We took our souls and we took our principles and we put them up on that shelf in the closet long time ago because we just want to fucking win and we want to get revenge. So we sit here, I'm thinking to myself today, one party, the party that needs to beat Trump, still not understanding, and the other party not giving a fuck at all. So what do we do? It goes to why I became a Democrat. To help the Democrats understand what they did, to help the Democrats understand what regular fucking people care about, to help the Democrats again connect with regular working class people, white, black, and brown, and get out of their fucking MSNBC ivory tower. It's a big part of why I became a Democrat. To help the Democrats understand. Step one is to understand why you all got out of touch with regular folk, and then do something about it. But the other thing that we can do is continue to put the truth about this moron, about this idiot, about this horrible person who every time he opens his mouth, Americans are going to die because he feeds them lies that are detrimental to their health. And as long as we keep putting truth out there, there will be plenty of Trump voters in 26 and 28 who either do not vote or they vote Democrat. Because remember, everybody, not everyone who voted for Donald Trump last year is a hardcore MAGA person. So many people voted for Trump, and they all told me this repeatedly. Joe, I know he's a bad guy, he's an asshole, but the Democrats don't understand me. But, there's always a but. These people who voted for Trump are not hardcore MAGA. They looked at the alternative. I got an asshole, bad guy, against a political party that looks down on me and doesn't understand me. Fuck it. I'll vote for the bad guy. These people are reachable as long as we continue to put the truth in front of them. The truth was put in front of them constantly in 2020 when it came to COVID. Trump lost that election in 20 because of COVID, because of all the people that his lies killed. Donald Trump lied in 2020. And so many Americans realized it, and people died because Trump lied. That batshit crazy press conference yesterday talking about Tylenol and autism and all the rest, people will die listening. People will die listening to any health advice that idiot gives. But it's imperative that we keep putting this out every day so that these people, I engage with MAGA, the hardcore base, every day. Most of them aren't going to move, but it's these other Trump voters who can move. What do we do? Here's what we do. Here's where we are. We look at where we are, right? We have an idiot in the White House. He's a dangerous idiot because he's in the White House. Okay. So he's a threat. He's also lawless and corrupt. He has to be beaten, and his political party has to be beaten. The only way that's going to happen is if we kick the Democratic Party in the ass to help the Democratic Party get their fucking act together to help defeat the threat. And if we reach these other Trump voters who are not his MAGA hardcore base. Help Democrats understand what they did, what they didn't do, and help Republicans who don't give a fuck that he's an asshole, help those Republican voters give a fuck. That's kind of my mission. Because that idiot who is still in front of the United Nations talking about himself, he's an embarrassment and he needs to go. I apologize, everybody. This was a rant I did not necessarily intend, but I had a hard time last night sleeping, and I've had a hard time all day today thinking about this. That press conference yesterday, Trump talking about giving medical advice. I thought, we're not going to recover from this, but we've got to. And then I thought about everything I've done, and my God, I became a Democrat 3.5 months ago. I can't quit now. I'm going to do all I can do to help my new political party fucking get its act together. Thanks for listening, everybody. I apologize that I went on about this. I wanted to talk about H-1B visas. We'll get to that tomorrow. That's another thing, by the way. Nobody, because of that idiot in the White House, nobody wants to come to America. And by the way, that makes a difference. That impacts our economy. That, by the way, will lead to Americans getting killed. Doctors don't want to come here from around the world. Nurses, healthcare workers, engineers, people in the sciences. Nobody wants to come. The best and the brightest don't want to come here anymore because of that fucking dangerous idiot in the White House. This all matters. Everything Trump's doing. Students on student visas aren't coming here. He's building a wall around America, and he's keeping God's children out of here. And that's going to hurt this country. I'll get into that tomorrow. Quickly, subscribe to my Substack. We are now live streaming on my Substack and YouTube, by the way. You can still watch on YouTube, but on my Substack every single day. So if you want to watch this show live, you got to go to the Substack. Social Contract with JoeWalsh.substack.com. Social Contract with JoeWalsh.substack.com. Go there. When you're there, become a subscriber. It'll help me keep my voice out there. You want to shoot me an email, do the social contract with joewalsh@gmail.com. That's all one word. The social contract with joewalsh@gmail.com. I need another cup of coffee. Thanks for listening. Be brave, everybody.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.